Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are all having a beautiful Monday, a beautiful start to this August 2024.
Woohoo!
And woohoo! I like that energy. So we are really excited because I have, well, I'm going to call you my friend now, Michael. So that's it. You're in
Oh
the inner
gosh.
circle. Okay. My friend, Michael Antosy from My Advice today, and he's here to give us all the secrets, all the goods, all the juice, all the things you didn't know you needed to know about how to make the ultimate, not just like a whatever, not just like what, but the ultimate internet presence for your aesthetics practice. So, Michael, do you want to introduce yourself? And by the way, if you don't know, my name's Elizabeth. I am the CEO and founder of DermaJEM. Hello. And
Hey.
Michael, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for letting me come in to talk to your people here today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Antosy. I am the Director of Practice Growth Consulting here with My Advice. And I've been in this industry as an organization. We've actually been around for over 20 years, helping aesthetics practices of all sizes and maturity and composition really grow revenue from what they're doing online. I'm actually going on my 15th year consulting in this space. So I'm on faculty at the Aesthetic Show. I present a lot through MSpa, but you name it, I've done it really within aesthetics. So very, very excited to talk to you guys here today and help to really demystify really how we're going to grow revenue leads, especially in 2024. Google's gone through a ton of changes, and I'm really excited to dive in about what those changes are, how you guys can be better positioned, and go from there.
Okay, so before anybody starts logging off, and I'm sorry, Michael, I know you're a busy guy, you want to get started, but I
No,
do
it's
want
okay.
people to know that they are going to gain lots of information from this, guys. This is not a sales pitch, okay? This is really good information that you should know, that you need to know when you're considering hiring somebody to help you with marketing, when you are even doing it yourself. There's things here that are going to be nuggets of gold for you to do. And the reason why we decided to bring Michael to chat with you guys is because I got a referral to Michael. Like, Michael was referred to me by someone that I hold in very high regard. And she is a tough lady, and she has a very successful aesthetics practice. Very booked, very busy lady. And she was like, this guy has changed my life. And I was like, say
Oh,
less, lady, say less. So I really am giving you the stamp of approval because I know where you come from, and I know that that is a tough audience.
well, only you and our mutual friend can make an Irish freckled faced kid blush even more. So thank you so much for that.
Love it.
Great.
Please
I'm
go
grateful
on,
to hear
Michael. I
that.
will turn off my microphone and I will turn off my video and let you take over.
Oh, well, thank you again for that like super warm introduction. So guys, let me I'm going to start to share my screen here, and I want to dive in and first of all just kind of start off with a little bit of a story. So here we go. Awesome. So this is again all about really increasing your practice's standing, how to generate leads and revenue. And especially, if you're coming to this because you do business with DermaJEM and Elizabeth, here's the thing. You invest into a lot of the devices and the capital that she helps to give your practice so that way you can start to grow more revenue. And you need these investments to obviously provide the foundation for your overall revenue creation. However, if you're not thinking about a marketing strategy to also align with that, I know that when we start to invest into devices or equipment, we like doing these things because it feels comfortable. But then there's this whole mindset of like, well, patients are just going to come. And guys, the reality is that if you're not going after the business, these devices are not going to be as working as hard for you, which means you're not generating as much lead flow nor revenue. Okay, so just as much as the investments align with your practice, so does your marketing strategy as well too. Now you might be asking yourself, why the heck am I showing a picture of a baby here on the first slide? This is my little boy York.
It's a cute
York,
baby. He's a
thank
cute,
you.
cute baby.
And listen to your response there, right? Elizabeth, you can go on mic here if you would like to, but imagine being in a room and my little boy is here right now. And I said to you, isn't he so cute? Isn't he so adorable? But hey, by the way, you can't call him cute. You can't call him adorable. Don't go up and snuggle him. By the way, I'm not going to do that either. I'm not even going to give him this bottle that he's due in 2 more hours. Like, if I were to give you that proposition, what would you say to me?
I would take that baby from you.
You would take that baby from me. Yeah.
He's my baby. Are you crazy? No, I cannot not touch that baby. I cannot not give him a bottle. I cannot not love on him. Are you kidding? He's so cute.
That would sound completely asinine, but insane. But so many business owners treat their marketing in the exact same capacity. They treat their business as saying, I'm not going to be thinking about nurturing. I'm not going to think about how I can really start to, step by step. Marketing doesn't necessarily have to be something that's this whole overwhelming thing, but it can be very simplistic, one step in front of the other. But the idea about this is consistency. Like, you have to be very consistent with your strategy. I have to be consistent with how I tell him I love him every day. I have to be consistent with how I nurture him, how I give him food and nutrition and all these other components, because ultimately the goal is to have him to grow and to mature. So again, guys, it's really thinking about your business is your baby. It is your child. How are you watering the garden? Now, the world has been chaotic for many, many years. I mean, think about everything that's just happened over the last 5 years with, starting with a pandemic, then we go through an election cycle, then it's about inflation. Now we've got 2 wars in the world that are going on. Now we have another election cycle that's happening. Just read a report here today, just in terms of what the Fed's doing to not even cut interest rates. So there's always this economic chaos that's happening. So what we wanted to understand is, how are practice owners actually meeting this moment? And this data is about 2 years old, but I would say in today's age, this still very much holds a ton of water in terms of the mindset that a lot of practice owners have, and frankly, what your competition also has as well too. We had surveyed over 1,000 practice owners, and we wanted to understand just one simple question. Are you planning on investing more into marketing? Half of our respondents said no. And why did they say that? Well, they cited things that, hey, marketing, it's a luxury as opposed to a necessity. And guys, that is such the complete wrong mindset. You are a cash-based business, which means you are elective, which means patients do not have to come to you. They have options and they have choices. So when your value proposition exceeds what your cost is, that is how you really start to win the game. And that's why marketing is so essential. But half of your competition in your town or your community or your market thinks that, no, it's actually a luxury as opposed to something that's a necessity. Having this perception of, again, it's expense versus investment. 22% of our respondents said, I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm not pulling away resources into marketing, but I'm sure as heck not going to dump anything more into it either. Almost kind of like putting your head into the sand. Only a third of our respondents said they're actually taking the Warren Buffett mindset, where you double down, you buy low and you sell high. No, with the knowingness that 49% of our competition and 22% of our competition combined is either being a deer in headlights or even pulling away resources. We understand that this is the time where we can capitalize. Now, again, marketing doesn't necessarily mean it has to be expensive, but you do need to make sure that you're feeding the baby, that you're putting the right resources into your growth if you want to grow leads and convert more patients and grow more revenue. So whenever I talk to practice owners, my first question is always like, how's the business state of your practice going? And oftentimes the answers that I hear back, they all sound the same. Hey, last month could have been my best month, or last quarter could have been my best quarter. And really what's behind that is that they see patients very transactionally. How many people did I see? What did they invest? You add up all those numbers, you get to one final revenue sum. And then the question is that, how do I relate my marketing to that? What did I spend to be able to get that? And that's a very fine way of being able to look at the world. But to be honest with you, it's also a very shallow perspective, because yes, while your marketing is really intended to drive those transactions, the real value that it's going to have for your practice is that, what is it doing to build in more predictive revenue pipeline? In other words, what are the seeds that you're laying into your strategy today that are paying you off, say 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line? In other words, what is it doing to create what we call patient lifetime value? What is the valuation that one individual has for your practice over the course of many, many years? And we've actually quantified this based around an average med spa nationally. This may or may not be your number just based around what your practice maturity is, but an average med spa is usually driving around $57,000 of patient lifetime value for one individual. Now think about that. When's the last time a client's come into your door and said, you thought to yourself, wow, there's $57,000 that just walked through my door? When the goal is to really put yourself into position to capitalize most upon that, what we've also found with our over 20 years of being integrated within aesthetics digital marketing is that there's a process and a framework that you really have to follow, which I'm going to introduce to you right now. It's what we call our pyramid of success. But guys, this is a step-by-step strategic approach that puts you into positions where you're maximizing return on your marketing while minimizing your cost and your investment into it. For those of you that might be thinking about maybe building the business for a future transaction down the line, this is definitely something you want to be paying attention to, because it's also about driving efficiency with how you're spending your dollars. So when folks come to us and they say, well, what's the first thing that I do? Well, you got to have a great website, because without a great website, you have no way of being able to measure data, your KPIs, being able to grow through your numbers as opposed to, say, speculation. I see so many, especially newer businesses, where they might post a lot on Instagram, but they don't even have a website. You have to measure trafficking behavior, where people go to on your website, where they're engaging from. A website enables you to capture all that data, so that way you can start to market more through intelligence as opposed to speculation.
The other thing that does, Michael, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the other thing that does is it tells you where that traffic is coming from. So you know where to put your advertising dollars.
Totally, right? Like if we see that a bunch of like leads are coming in through a practice's laser hair removal page, would it not make more sense to maybe double down a little bit more on those investments?
Thank you. Exactly.
An Instagram page is not going to be able to tell you that. So again, it's working to give you better data intelligence to understand patient behavior. Now, here's the thing. How do you start to really build out your marketing and visibility strategy? Because a lot of folks think website, I got to do SEO, or website, post a ton on social media. If anyone tells you to do those things first, you need to run from that person, because that is not tried and true business intelligence. But the very first thing that you have to do is you need to align what we call your local listing information, and making sure that how your business data is showing up among what we call local directories is consistent and accurate. If that sounded like French or Greek or whatever to you, don't worry about that. I'm going to help to explain. I don't even know why my alarm is going off here.
I just want to say that sounded like French, Greek, and German to me, all at the same time.
I'm going to absolutely explain what that means in just a quick moment.
Okay.
So local listings is the first thing. From there, it's what you're doing to drive reviews about your business online. When I say reviews, I'm really specifically referring to Google reviews, okay? Now we get into the realm of social media. This is where you want to be active on your accounts, posting a lot and consistently. Now, 1 through 4, this is what constitutes a complete internet presence. And if that's your goal, then this is what you need to be doing in that order. However, if the goal is to grow quicker and faster and more acceleratedly, now do we layer in SEO? I prefer to define this more as content strategies, because that's really what SEO is. It's information on your website, and then ads. But the idea about these things is that you don't do these things until you have that solid base foundation first. So let's dive in here a little bit and let's talk about your website. So why do we have this? Because again, as we've established, this is the focal point. This is where all of your trafficking behavior can be monitored, tracked, and you can start to build your marketing plan through better business data intelligence. While a website will do that for you, it also has to properly reflect you. And I'll give you guys a little bit of a story. So I was actually speaking at the aesthetic show a few years ago, and this doctor comes up to me afterwards, and he tells me about how he has a big problem in his practice. And I said, all right, well, what's happening? Talk to me. And he starts by saying to me, listen, I'm just going to tell you, Michael, I am the best injector in Calgary. No one does Botox injections better than what I do. My results look fantastic. And really what I do is I use Botox, and people do other things in my practice. But I'm just going to tell you right now that I'm the best at doing this in Calgary. And I was like, okay. He said, you had a problem. What's your problem? He goes, oh yeah, my problem. So he goes on to tell me the story that about 6 months ago, this practice had just moved into town, newer practice, certainly not as well seasoned as what this doctor was. But he had noticed that ever since that had happened, he's not doing as many Botox consults. He's not doing as much Botox injections, which means he's not converting patients into doing other things in his practice, which is really hitting his bottom line. So I said, all right, cool. Thank you. Like, now you've given me some context here. Let's take a look at your website. Let's poke around here and see what I can find. And I opened up his website, and immediately I knew exactly what his problem was. And he says to me, well, how can you tell me? You just spent like a second looking at my website. How do you know what my problem is? You spent no time. I'm like, yeah, that's all the time that I needed. He goes, well, what's wrong? Tell me. And I said to him, like, listen, you just got done telling me that you were the best Botox injector in Calgary. No one does it better than what you do. Your results look amazing. They're supernatural. He goes, yes, absolutely true. And I said, I'm sorry, but your website sucks. And I think I didn't say sucks, but I might have said mediocre. And I think I kind of hit his ego a little bit. But guys,
I was just going to say, there is nothing more painful for a aesthetic injector, whatever, whether they're a doctor, a nurse, or whatever they are, than for you to be like, wah, wah, wah. I'm sure they tell you how awesome they are.
Truly, that's what it was, though. This website, it had like, it was built in like the 90s.
Oh my God.
It had a website ticker counter, if you remember those back in the day, where it said, hey, you were like the 9,000th visitor to the website.
What?
Yes. It was that old. And
No.
I asked him, I'm like, when's the last time you've been on your website? And he's like, he goes, I've never gone on this thing. It's been years. And, you know, I went to his competition's website, and Elizabeth, it was bright. It was vibrant. It had great images. It had like great videography. Like it just wrapped the patient up into a warm blanket of comfort. And it was super obvious as to what energy patients were attracted to, because that practice made it seem as if they invested well into themselves. This provider, even though he's been practicing for a long time, didn't care about that. He thought his experience was enough.
Do you know that that's interesting that you say that? Because I feel like we get that a lot we get a lot of pushback when we start talking about these things. I don't know if you see this, but a lot of pushback from especially estheticians that have kind of been in the game for a while, and they are, you know, seasoned. They have so much experience. They have 15, 20 years of experience. And they're like, no, I don't need to be doing all the ticky-tacky, Instagram-y, website-y things. I don't need to do that. I have 20 years of experience. And it's like, yeah, but there's no more yellow pages. Like, what are you going to do? And the first thing that most people do is go on a website. And if the website doesn't look legit nowadays, that's it. You're done.
Well, it's funny you say that, because that's how instantaneous decisions are made. They've actually quantified the data on this, is that how quickly our first impressions made. And this is all going back to, again, nurturing the baby, caring the baby. If you want to grow and to mature, you don't ever stop loving on the thing. You have to constantly be thinking about, how am I going to keep my edge sharp?
That's literally my job. That's what I do every day.
That's
like my mind operates constantly on how am I gonna do better? What am I gonna change? Where do I need to adjust? How can I make this function better? It is part of being a business owner, right? Like, that's par for the course. And a website is an ever evolving thing. You never stop working on your website, ever.
100%. If you think it's a set and forget it, oh, it's built, I don't have to do anything about it.
Nope. Yeah.
So I'm glad you're joining here, because I'm going to do a little bit of a game here with us.
I like it. Let's do it.
I want the audience to also, I want you guys to get your fingers ready here as well, too. So here's the thing. First impressions, they've actually quantified this. First impressions are made about an aesthetics practice within 2.9 seconds. Am I going to stay, or am I going to go?
3-second society, honey.
Totally. And I'd imagine even for York's generation, it's probably going to get even shallower than that time frame. Just because
I can't wait for our children's generation, Michael.
Right. So here's the thing. I'm going to show you 6 different websites. Now, Elizabeth, don't shout any of this out. Just put it in the
Okay,
back
I'll
of your
shut
mind.
up.
I'm going to show you 3 different sites across the top, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the bottom. And these are all #1 ranking websites in their respective markets. I want you to tell me, just based off of first impressions, I'm only going to give you like 2 seconds to look at these.
Okay.
What are the practices that you're calling first based on first impressions? For those of you on our Zoom here, put this into the chat, put this into the QA. Tell me which are the practices that you're going to. All right, ready? 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So don't shout it out. I'm gonna give our audience a little bit of a tell me, guys, go to the Q&A, go into the chat feature. Based around what you just saw, who are the practices that you're calling first?
I think we have shy people here today.
We have some shy people here. Okay. So, Elizabeth, why don't you tell me, who are you
2 and 6.
You're calling 2 and 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back here. 2 and 6.
I would probably call 2 first, though. I'll tell you that.
Cool. So you answer 2 and 6, and you're absolutely correct. It's 2 and 6. And guys, keep in mind, these are all, again, #1 ranking websites. So let me just stop my share here again. These are all first ranking websites in their local markets. But why are we calling 2 and 6 first? Like, what about these speak to us? It's about the visual nature of
visual. Yeah.
Yes. Our brains are wired to be visual. We'd much rather watch a movie than read a book. You know, if you look at #1 here, I mean, you got a lot of this like white background, more white photos. Nothing's really popping about this. If I look at #3 here, my God, is there just so many levels of navigation? You have 1, 2, 3 levels of horizontal navigation, a level of vertical navigation. Then you have your call to action highlight boxes. It's just so much. It feels very salesy. By the way, look at #5 here. And again, I know we have a lot of estheticians that are on here. This is the first ranking website for Botox in San Francisco.
That's a big deal.
What's the first image that we see here? It's a
we see product.
Right. So again, there's a disconnect with this messaging. So you're absolutely right, is that the simplistic sites, the one that make us feel good, are the ones that are really going to generate the leads the best and the most efficiently. Now, I say this because while your website needs to be beautiful and stunning, it also has to make your phone ring, because if it ain't doing that, it's not doing the job for you in the way that it should. So how hard is it for us to find a phone number on a website? When we create websites, this is an example of one of them, we always make sure that that phone number, your main call to action, is always front and center on the website. That should never disappear from the eye line of a patient. Who among us are using some type of AI chat tools? That little bot that just popped up here. Chats are great to know that you're doing that. Chats are great lead accelerators. On average, if you have some type of AI chat tool, it's generating leads about 30% more of the time. Is your site mobile responsive? Does it adapt to various screen sizes? For those of you that
so important.
Totally.
So back to kind of, if I can just kind of interrupt you a little bit, Michael, just relating to what you're saying to my personal experience as a business owner and as someone who's constantly working on their website with their webmaster. One of the things that when I early on hired the company that my webmaster now, is that one of the things that impressed me, because the last webmaster I had no idea or didn't understand how important analytics were like this. And one of the things he told me, he's like, oh my God, 75% of your traffic is coming from mobile. He's like, yep. We have got to make sure everything we put on your website and everything we put out is mobile friendly. And that is so important. How many times have you gone on your phone, you clicked an Instagram ad and you open it up and it looks horrible, or you have to turn your phone, or it doesn't work? What do? You turn it off and you go back to Instagram and scrolling. That's it.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that I see most commonly, especially for like some of my newer practices, is they might have a Wix website,
Oh yeah.
and because they build it on their own, it's a DIY thing. But the biggest problem with Wix is that it's not a responsive framework. So for those of you who don't know what that means, let me just share this with you. Look at this website here. You see if it's like an accordion. Doesn't matter how we orient this design, everything always stays within the frame of the computer screen, which is always what you want to be seeing. So Google likes that. Google wants to see websites which are completely mobile responsive. This is a practice that I was just talking to earlier today, and this is just coming to the top of my mind. But this is a website that, now this is for a dental practice, but this is a Wix platform, and it looks really good. But the problem is that when we start to consolidate the browser's window here, you're going to start to see that the things are going to start to get cut off, and the whole website's framework is not adapting to the screen size. Google does not like this. Google wants to see websites that are completely accordion style. It doesn't matter if I am, say, on a widescreen desktop monitor like this, if I consolidate this down to various sizes of tablets, or then even to smartphones, the whole design always stays within the frame of the computer screen. So again, if you want to score some better Google points for trafficking, have a completely mobile responsive website, not simply just a mobile optimized site, which is what Wix is. So hopefully that gave you guys some good clarification and understanding here as well too. Now, what I will tell you is that the website in today's age, it's really just the commodity. Okay, it's not the thing that you spend a lot of money in terms of investing or building. As a matter of fact, when we create a website for our clients, we don't charge anything to get them created. What you need to be focusing on is, how do I really drive more of that exposure, more visibility for my practice? So again, we're going to talk about the thing in French that I was talking about earlier, is how your local listings are properly aligned among your business. So Elizabeth, I have a question for you, because you're gonna be the voice of the audience here today.
I love it. I'm here.
I got a question for you. Let's just say if I move to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, hey, I want to find somebody that does. I know I need to get laser hair removal. Maybe I'm trying to get that tattoo off of my back, or maybe I'm trying to invest into that hydrofacial or skin pen or microneedling, whatever the thing might be. If I know that that's the thing that I want to get, I just don't know who offers it. My question for you is, where do I go? How do I figure out? Exactly. So Google's role in all of this is about, what is Google doing to drive new acquisition revenue into your practice? So it behooves me when practice owners, especially newer ones, where they post a lot on social media, but yet they don't think about Google's role first. Because if I want to become acquired, and if I want to invest in your services, my inclination is not to open up my Instagram to try to figure that piece out. That's what Google is all about. Now, within the Google infrastructure, half of all Google searches are localized in some way. So basically what that means is that it coincides with geographic location. I'm going to search for something, 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 using the phrase Fort Lauderdale, Miami, what have you. A more common vernacular, though, of how patients search, and I'm probably sure that you do this all the time, I do this all the time, is you use that phraseology, near me.
All the time.
Microneedling near me. Laser hair removal near me, what have you. So the question
Thai
is
food near me. Best Thai restaurant near me.
We were just we were just on vacation last week, and I was trying to find like best oysters near me. I was very disappointed to know that the waters are too warm right now for oysters. But
yeah, they are. Sad.
It is what it is. So here's the thing. The question is, what is Google looking at? What does Google want to verify and validate, or even see first within a business? Say, yeah, you know what, patient, like, this is a place that you should go to. Does it start by looking at your website? It doesn't start there. It will eventually, but it doesn't seek that out first. It doesn't look at your social media content either first. But the very first thing that Google wants to see is what we call the consistency and the accuracy of your NAP citation data. Very simply put, NAP is an acronym. We're not going to sleep. It stands for your name, your address, as well as your phone number. And how is this information being listed or expressed among what we call local directories? Local directories, you can kind of think about these as being like mini search engines. So there are over 60 of these profiles, 60, and 15 applications. And Google looks at every single one of these profiles, validate and verify and trust. Who are you? Where are you? Where are you located? What services do you offer? And it wants to see the consistency of this information among all of these profiles, which I'm sharing with you here. So if there are inaccuracies or if there are inconsistencies, it reduces the trust that Google sees in your practice, which lessens your visibility, it lessens your lead flow, it lessens your revenue. And as a matter of fact, this isn't hyperbolic. This is not speculative. This is coming precisely from Google itself, and how Google determines local ranking boils down to three main factors: relevance, distance, and prominence. Now, again, the relevance and the distance part, this has everything to do with your local listings. This happens to be a practice that I'm talking to, and I'm seeing their listing report here. They're showing up as 79% inaccurate with their business data. This is another practice that I'm talking to. They are 55% inaccurate with their business data. I bring this up, everybody, because local listings is the foundational element to making everything else work. So if you're tired of spending a lot of money on ads or boosting a lot of your posts and you're not seeing a lot of good engagement or leads come in, well, guess what? It's because you have not addressed the foundational issues. This is where the foundation begins. Now, the thing is, why do these inaccuracies exist? As we look here, the proper title of this business is called OC Weight Loss Centers and Cool Sculpting. But a lot of these profiles, some will integrate the cool sculpting, others are missing it. It's called OC Weight Loss Centers, very simply. Sometimes there will be a tracking phone number that will get picked up. Sometimes there will be people that will have been practicing at an old office address. All of this stuff can really muck up a lot of your listing information. And all of this old data comes from sources of information which no business owner can control. It's what we call data aggregators. What the heck are data aggregators? Well,
I don't know what they are, Michael, but I'm getting stressed out. You're making me have to go check new things.
I don't want to stress you out.
No, you're not stressing me out. This is great. This is great.
But aggregators are things, Elizabeth, like credit card files, government records, leasing agreements. If you've registered an LLC, this is all basically means of information out there into the public domain. And once that's out there, you really can't scrub that away from the internet. And look, don't feel so bad, because I'll tell you right now, I myself have been impacted by data aggregators. And I'll tell you a similar story. For those of you, you don't know me, but I've also done a little bit of film and TV acting in my day, okay? So when you happen to Google me, Michael Antosy, you're gonna come across this little link here. And this is a TV show that I was on about 15 years ago.
Rizzoli and Isles. I love Rizzoli and Isles, Michael.
Who doesn't like, right? Good old crime drama. But here's the thing. There's this old photo of me that exists online. And Elizabeth, I have no idea how this got here onto this website. I didn't put this in. It says that I'm 32 years old. I'm not 32. It says that I was born in Philly. I was also not born in Philadelphia. I'm from outside of Philadelphia, but I was born in Reading, Pennsylvania. But yet, like, this is me. And let's just also say this too. Awful headshot, very poorly touched up here.
I can't.
But this is me, and I don't know how to remove this from the internet. I don't really care. I mean, I'm not trying to drive patients to my location on a localized level, but when you are, this can really be a big detriment to your visibility. So one way that we help to solve this is through a tool that we have that is called Local Power, okay? What Local Power effectively is, it's a software tool that's an integration with your Google business profile. So for those of you who do not know what a Google business profile is, let me share this with you. And if you don't have a Google profile, you need to get one. This is your
like right now, like as soon as we're finished here, you need to go get one.
you need to go register one, because this is the heart of your visibility. Now, just because you have a Google profile does not mean that all of your data is streamlined. You know, you still need to be able to do that. But this is our Google business profile. Wanted to share this with you because we're an awesome company. But what this does is it's a combination of, once this software tool is integrated into this profile here, it suppresses any misinformation that might be out there about your practice. But most importantly, it pushes all the correct listing information about the business. That's not just about name, address, and phone number. It's also streamlining things like your office hours, your payment methods, your services that you're offering at your practice. It's all this complete business listing management. Now, when you're able to fortify that and to correct that, really great things happen as a function of your visibility. This is one thing I will tell you that's a great attribute of our organization, is that we study data. We're very data driven with everything that we do. This is a case study that we took, profiling over 200 of our aesthetics business owners, wanting to understand, when you start to align listings, what does the return on investment look like over a 2-month period? And in average practice, on average over 2 months, we'll see a 23% bump of more views of their practice within Google searches, a 22% increase with more direction requests to, hey, where am I located, from Google Maps, increasing website traffic by 18%, increasing inbound phone call activity by 11%. These are not pie in the sky, like unrelatable numbers. These are all very practical growth improvements that you can really expect when you start to align a lot of this information.
Also, really significant numbers in 60 days.
Totally, absolutely. I mean, this is something that, what I will tell you is that everyone that's watching this, and I don't exist in the world of guarantees or things of that nature, but I will tell you, I will give a 99% confidence rate that anyone that's watching this has some inaccuracy about their business online. So going back to, hey, 75% of our competition is either doing nothing or being a deer in the headlights. This is a great way of being able to take an immediate action item to be able to get ahead of your competition. And by the way, this is also just something else I like to share here. You often hear in the realm of digital marketing, well, things take time, and there are things that do take time. This is not one of those things. This is an immediate integration with your Google profile that gets to work right away. As a matter of fact, this is our onboarding guarantee to any of our clients, that when you get this tool, we will have this addressed and integrated within 1 business day. So if your practice is like this, in this condition, 79% inaccuracy, guess what? This time tomorrow, this problem will be fixed. So this is something that we really like to help to understand, is that, hey, as an organization, we're really ready to get to work here for you. Now, before I continue, how to improve your local ranking on Google, there's a third thing I haven't talked about yet. It's prominence. What does prominence mean? Prominence has everything to do with your Google reviews and what you are doing to drive reviews onto this platform. Elizabeth, I've got a question for you. Do you happen to know who Paul Nassif is by chance?
Paul Nassif, yeah, I do. He's the one on Botched. Love him.
Yes, absolutely right. So let me show you his profile here. So Dr. Paul Nassif, when you Google Paul Nassif, this is what you find here, right? 4.7 rating. He's the botch doctor. He's all over TV. Now, at face value, this is a great Google profile when you look at this, okay? And this is a guy, celebrity, well-known. Some might be
has his own skincare line.
Owns his own skincare line. I've seen it. I've seen him selling his skincare stuff on QVC.
Me too.
Yeah. By the way,
it's not a professional skincare line, guys.
By the way, if you want a great skincare line, we all know Lyra. So
we do all know Lyra. We do.
But here's the thing. At face value, this looks like a good Google profile. But here's the problem that you're going to see here. Is that how consistent is he with how he is generating reviews?
Not very. I also feel like he's so famous, she should have a lot more than 139 reviews.
Precisely the point is that if you're that well known, why don't you have more reviews on your Google page? But let's take a look at his website here. And, you know, if we go to his website, boy, it's gorgeous. A beautiful website, gorgeous website, converts very well. By the way, we didn't build this, but this also has a lot of those same principles where, hey, phone number is always on the eye line. That's a great thing. It's mobile responsive. So let's put a pin in this for the time being. We see Paul Nassif, beautiful website, kind of okay review strategy. Not a lot of reviews given his notoriety. Now, do you know who Dr. Ermin Desai is by chance?
Nope.
By the way, no one that I've ever talked to has ever heard of Dr. Ermin Desai. He is
okay,
also
just making sure.
He is also, now I know Ermin, I've known of him for, gosh, over 10 years now. But this is Paul Nassif's competition right down the street. Also a Beverly Hills-based plastic surgeon. But what do you notice about Ermin Desai? This is a guy that no one has really known about.
5-star, 850 Google reviews.
Truckload more of reviews.
Yeah.
This guy has so many more reviews than, say, a Paul Nassif here. Well, let's take a look at this here. And as we start to dive in and dissect this, patients always go to the newest because they want to see what is most newest here. And guys, listen, let me just say this here as well, too. You are going to have a bad review at some point.
Always.
Always. He clearly had 3 negative reviews here that are all recent compared to all of these completely new, brand new 5-star reviews. And so you have to take everything with a grain of salt. But when you see 850 reviews, 5-star rating, this guy's doing a great job. But here's the thing. As we start to look at this here, look at the newness of these reviews. 3 days ago, a week ago, I flew all the way from Minnesota to Beverly Hills. By the way, we oftentimes will see a correlation between word of mouth and reviews. I found Dr. Desai through a friend, right? My friend referred me to Dr. Desai. My sister had her breast implants by Dr. Desai. Any business owner that I talk to always tells me their best lead sources are word of mouth patients. And so
always.
my next question is that, well, why don't you have better reviews then about your practice? Because you have to nurture that pipeline. Now, we've seen how great his review strategy is here. Let's take a look at his website. Now, again, as a quick recap, Paul Nassif, guy's very well known, has a beautiful website, but kind of okay review strategy, not super active, not a lot of them. This is the guy that nobody knows. Awesome review strategy, super consistent. Let's take a look at his website here. And Elizabeth, I'm glad that you're sitting down right now because this is the man's website.
What is happening?
This is like the Botox doctor that I talked to in Calgary.
Ew.
This is very similar to the first impression. By the way, a few things I'll just point out about this website. It's poorly formatted. I lived in LA for 16 years. Talking about Beverly Hills and Hollywood are not sales messages. That's not why I want to go to this person. And you can also see here too, he's not a dummy. He's Harvard educated. He's double board certified. But yet this is the first impression that he is leaving his patients. Now, am I saying have a bad website like this? No. But what I am saying is that it's clearly not what is driving patients to his practice. His reviews are really having a great part in that. And just to paint some perspective here, Ermin Desai has a cheap marketing tool that he uses to generate reviews. It costs him probably a few $100s a month. Paul Nassif, this guy's all over TV, QVC, everywhere. It's not an exaggeration to assume that his marketing budget is at least 5 figures on a monthly basis.
Easy. One
is doing it with a high marketing spend. The other one's doing it through efficiency. So we want to start to develop that efficiency mindset. Now, to help with that, a lot of my practice owners say to me, Mike, I have so many happy people. I ask them to leave me reviews. They say that they're going to do it, but they don't do it. And it's not to say that they won't do it. It's just that you need to make it easier for your patients to do it. So one of the tools, and there's a lot of review systems which are out there. This is one that we have that works very, very well for our clients. This is a tool that's called Review Power. And by the way, guys, I'm not trying to be too salesy here, but this is what we call our success center. And this is where what we do is we quantify everything that we track for our clients. You want to understand how your local data and how that alignment is driving opportunities for you. You go right over here, you can see precisely how many live listings you're going to be featured on, your accuracy score, get inferences in terms of how your Google search or your Maps impressions are increasing or decreasing over a given time period. Again, this is when you start to grow through data intelligence and understanding your metrics and your KPIs.
Can I say something, Michael?
Sure.
And I only say this to the people that are kind of like me. And I say this with love, friends. This stuff is not sexy. Data is not necessarily sexy. It's not the most fun part of our job, right? And it's probably not it's not where we want to spend the most time in our work. However, it's quite understanding the data will drive every single decision you make. And if you want to be a smart business owner, you need to know your data. It doesn't, like, you need to know this kind of thing. You need to understand why is one marker significantly lower than the other, or why is this month different than last month? What changed? What did you do differently? What did you put out there? What shifted? All of that is information, and information is knowledge. Knowledge is power, and that's going to allow you to make smart decisions for your business. It's like, I say this because I am guilty of being like, oh my God, data. Oh my God, I'm so bored. You know, but this is so important for you to be able to run a successful business. Knowing your numbers is essential. Sorry, I'm off my tangent now.
Well, I will say this, I'll even take it a step forward as well too, guys, is that, you know, this is why you have to have a partner that's going to grow with you.
100%.
You have great, Elizabeth, you have built your team.
Yes.
You know, I say this all the time to my practice owners, you have to build your team. You have to build your stable of professionals that know what they're doing, put the right investments into your growth so that way you can realize things quicker. It's not your job to understand all these things out of the gate. It's our job to help to educate you on that and why these things matter. Because when you have somebody that's going to be there to walk with you, that's where empowerment really begins. And so
also, if I may say, Michael, you have to know what you don't know, right? And like, this is not something this isn't what I am necessarily passionate about. I need to know this kind of information for my business, but I have people that analyze this and make adjustments and report to me on it, right? And this is a way for a practitioner to be able to do what I'm able to do by spending tens of thousands of dollars a month versus spending not that kind of money, you know?
Never has any practice owner come to me to say, hey, I have my practice because I really love the numbers.
Oh God. We're a special breed, you know?
Yeah. People say, I just want to take care of my patients. I don't want to have to be dealing with all this number crap. And I totally get it.
Literally.
Yes. Listen, I understand the pain that you're going through, but yeah, Elizabeth, you're absolutely right though. You have to have this growth mindset. You have to want to make things better, because if you're expecting that's just going to happen, I'm sorry, that's just not the way that the world is going to work. And unfortunately, you're going to get caught up in that cycle of not growth and stuck and staying stagnant for years and years and years on end.
And then wondering why. Well, it's because you don't know what to do. And you're just shooting at like the air. You're not even doing anything. So if you know where to target, if you know what to do, that's a different story. Now we're focused. Now we're putting, you know, it's so interesting to me. I have similar conversations with my clients, with our clients. And, you know, we work with a lot of small business owners, and they think because they're small business owners, they don't need to know this. But the only way you can continue to stay where you're at. Because I do also talk to a lot of people that are like, well, I'm happy where I'm at. I don't want to make more money. I don't need it. Yeah, but you got to keep what you got. You know, you don't want people to get bored. So you still have to put value and time into understanding these types of metrics. They're super important.
And let's all just call a spade as well too. The Goldilocks feeling that, oh, hey, things are great. It doesn't last forever.
Nope.
Nope.
It sure doesn't.
Things are good. That's when you start to double down and think about, what do I need to tighten up?
It worries me sometimes when I see business owners that are very successful very fast, and they're not reinvesting a big chunk of that money back in their business, because that's how you have sustainable growth over a long period of time. You can't just take money out and think and stay the same and think that you're going to continuously grow like that. It doesn't work.
You know, going back to, and this is where I'll go back to again, you know, marketing, it's not necessarily something that has to be expensive, but you also have to be putting resources into that channel. You know, going back to like my baby here, you know, if it's helpful for your audience, you know, I sit on a lot of practice management sessions when I present at different meetings, and generally, like, if you define yourself as an aggressive grower, you want to be aggressive with your strategy, you're generally reinvesting around 10% of what your monthly revenue is back into the business. If you are I want to grow, but maybe I want to put one foot in front of the other, the answer is I'm not going to invest anything, but usually it's around 4 to 6% of what you're making revenue-wise back into your practice. And guys, everyone's going to be different. A practice that is in year 1 is not making the same revenue as what they're going to be in year 10.
Correct.
Everyone is coming at it from a different position and a different angling, but do you have, again, going back to that word, a framework or a strategy, a directive of a process to guide you through? And that's really what this whole framework is here of what we have presented and built for our practices, to put our clients really into winning and scalable solutions.
You know what's interesting to me is everybody wants to go right to the top of the pyramid. Everybody wants to go, and then they're like, oh my God, I spent all this money and I don't know why, and nothing came from it. And this exact is so important. Sorry, I'm going to shut up now and let you talk, Michael.
No, well, like, I'll just tell you, I'll give you a story. So like I've been taking peptides.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm 40. I just turned 40.
Me too.
Oh God. See, I don't really kindred spirits here. But you know, like, you probably got into it because maybe you're starting to feel your age a little bit. I don't know. I kind of am. My dad
Me too.
passed at a younger age. I want to be around for my boys for a long time. Yep. So, but anyway, you know, my wife and I, we cook our own food at home. I still get some pretty okay rest, even though my son gets up at god awful hours.
Oh, yours too? Good to know.
Oh yeah. 5 a.m. today. My God. You know, and I work out, I exercise, I weightlift all the time. So my doctor was like, all right, you know, patients like you, they do well on peptides because like you already come to this conversation with the right framework, the right foundation. Right. Now, any practitioner that's watching this, imagine me coming into your practice and say, hey, make me look better. But I smoke and I drink and I party my face off all the time and eat like crap and I don't exercise. You're probably thinking,
and I'm not going to take home any home care. I just want to come in here once a month and you work magic.
Right, exactly. Or if you've gone to therapy before and you expect that, oh, I'm just going to be magically cured after like one session.
One session. Do the work. Magic.
Right. You got to put the work in. You got to build that infrastructure, build that foundation, which takes time and it takes energy and attention and a strategy. Yes. So going back here, and I know we're almost at our time, so this is the last thing I'm just going to share here with you guys. Maybe we could do a part 2 of this. But here's the thing. If you don't have a review tool in place, you need to get one. And so one of the tools that we help our practices with is another review application here, which is called Review Power. What this basically is, this is a text application that allows practices an ability of sending out a mass text message to as many of their patients all at the same time. And can you email out review requests? You certainly can, but when you text, you're converting that review 78% more of the time. Now, for those of you that might be using a QR code, stop doing it. Because the problem is you want to encourage where reviews are published from. And oftentimes when clients are in your practice, they scan that code, then they leave that review. Guess what Google sees? There's a lot of separate people leaving a review about this one business from its location, and you do not want to be doing that. That says you as a business owner are trying to incentivize or cherry pick or adulterate this review experience. So having
you just dropped a bomb on some people right now. Bam.
That's why you want to have a text tool, because you're ensuring that people are away from your practice. They can do it at their own leisure. Now here, I just clicked on text. You can modify this. I'm just going to call myself Michael Antosy here. Google is always the place where you want to be driving reviews. It is the gold standard. It doesn't play the nefarious games like a Better Business Bureau or a Yelp will do. It shows the good, the bad, the ugly. As we saw in Ermin Desai's case, you know, he had a few bad reviews, but it doesn't ding his score because as an aggregate, he's an amazing doctor to go to.
Yeah.
Now from here, what you can do is, if you have a list of your clients, just upload that list right into here. Or what you can do is just simply type in the patient's name, put their phone number in, just like this. Here's another truth bomb for you. What we've actually done is that the best times of converting your reviews are around 6 to 7 at night, Monday through Thursday. So for those of us who are like, you know, Elizabeth or myself, where we have to be parents at that hour, you can schedule those texts to go out at that time whenever you want them to.
I love a scheduled anything, Michael.
Totally. Like
it is my I schedule all kinds of and not even like marketing things. Like there are times where the only time I have a moment to write an email to someone is 2 a.m. And guess when that email goes out? 9 a.m. the next morning. But I finished it.
Look like a crazy person.
Exactly. That's emailing people at 2 in the morning. I'm telling you all my secrets now, guys.
So, hey, here we go, guys. My text just came in here. Take a look at this. It happened immediately. Hi, Mike. Appreciate your help in leaving a review. So what I do is I click on this link, routes us to a landing page. This is where we integrate your practice's logo, your branding. These are your direct integrations with Google and Facebook. All I then do is I click Google. If I'm signed in, bam, it takes me right here to where I then leave that review. Makes it really, really easy and very simplistic. Why do we do this, guys? Because it's a cheap way of making very great revenue into your practice. This is just one of my clients. After a year of utilizing this system, he increased his website visitors, organic new visitors by 40%. These were the increases in Google search as well as Google Maps. Generated 38% more leads after 1 year just because of better review consistency. So again, when you want to be growing well, this is also a fundamental part of where the work really starts. So guys, I know we're at our time here today. So, you know, there's obviously a few more levels to this pyramid. Maybe we could look to do a part 2 on this to talk about
I love that.
Other things. But before we end here today, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of direction and an opportunity to connect with me, especially if you are trying to take your strategy up to the next level. So if you are in a position where you know you need to make some investments into yourself, you just don't know what to do or where your blind spots are, if you take out your phone on the left-hand side here, this is a link to my calendar. Feel free to scan this QR code, book a meeting with me. Let's get you on the schedule, talk a little bit more about how we can really help you. If you're not ready for that right now, but you want to at least stay in touch, I encourage you to follow me on Instagram. This is my IG handle. You can get in touch with me here. Now, I also wanted to just leave you guys with this as well too. I have put together some exclusive packages here for our webinar attendees today.
Oh my God, this is like a present.
Yes.
I don't have an aesthetics practice, Michael, but I'd like to hire you.
Oh gosh. Well, we can talk offline, but here's the thing, guys. If your practice is newer, I'm talking about maybe brand new to 6 months or so, and revenue is not really coming in as like you would like it to. These are great starter packages that we're offering exclusively here for webinar attendees through the 15th of this month. There is no upfront cost to create a website for you. All these are monthly prices where we do your marketing, your website management, and your website build within that fee. if your practice is more established and you see marketing, you've been doing a lot of it, but you're not seeing the return come in, these packages are going to be a little bit more applicable for you, and we can get into more of what these nuances are. Again, these are all pack plans that we're running through the 15th. So I'll leave you guys with this again. You know, if you are in a position where you want to take things up to the next level, you need a framework or a process in place. Let's get some time to connect. And that's it. Elizabeth, thank you so much for you know, giving me the opportunity to talk to your team here today, your group. And I hope this has been valuable to at least, you know, uncover where you need to start to build your foundation.
Amazing. Michael, thank you so much for all the information. I think we definitely need to do a part 2. We did have one question, just really quick in the Q&A. It was a question asking, does the text work the same as sending them a link to leave a review?
It does. However, you have to keep in mind, like, clients don't always leave you a review on the first shot the first time. Sometimes what they'll do is you want to have some automations in place to remind that client to do it. Again, I'm going to go back to, though, your data. Like, how are you building data? Like, one of the things through this platform is that this isn't just making it easier for you to send out a review request to your patients, but you can actually quantify and see over time, how are you doing? Over a given time period, what your average rating might be, how many requests are you sending out, how many reviews are you replying to? For whoever asked that question, as well as for everybody here, you need to be feeding your Google profile weekly with reviews. And so having some performance metrics to understand how you're staying disciplined on that is only what's going to help you to grow quicker and smarter and faster. You texting it out to a patient does nothing on the follow-up process. It does nothing on the quantifiable process. And let me also just leave you with this as well too. I recently did a webinar with a gal that is, she helps a lot of aesthetics businesses to have a sale of their practice. It's a transaction, if you will, down the line. There are these reports that companies like hers will look at called confidential informational memorandums. And it's a whole data analysis on a practice. But the metricing of review consistency is something that these companies look at when you want to build a strong valuation and multiple for your practice. And so you having a text that gets sent out willy-nilly, sure, you can get
not
that
the same.
First. It's just simply not the same. You, again, going back to the whole aegis of this conversation, knowing your metrics, knowing your data, and you want to quantify that. So
absolutely,
that's why something like this could really help you guys.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Mike. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time, and we'll get another webinar in the books because I feel like we need to do this again.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, Elizabeth, thank you again. I really enjoyed the conversation, and thank you guys again. I look forward to hopefully seeing you on the other side soon.
All right, everybody take care. Thank you for being here with us, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.